The most underrated Fortnite controller player is only 16 years old and has $315,000 in Fortnite earnings. I'm guessing you had a couple guesses, but you were definitely wrong. Me, Falcontini. Last FNCS Grand Finals he placed second, just 11 points away from winning that FNCS title. He still made $120,000 from this, but must feel very disappointed. Talking of Team Falcon, you may recognise them since they recently just signed Peterbot, making him the highest salaried player in all of Fortnite. Another well-known name a part of their team is Falcon Tayson, who is also good friends with Teeny. So let's talk about Teeny. He is from Slovenia and like I mentioned is just 16 years old. Most likely the most youngest Fortnite player with the highest amount of earnings. He plays on Europe servers, the hardest region, and on controller. He has 139,000 PR, which makes him the top 6 of Europe global power ranking. If we look at his recent placements, they're very consistent and most averaging top 10 and under. In FNCS Division 1 he placed second, just 2 points behind first place. They played 9 games and won 3 of them, having 468 total points, and first place with 470, who was Malibuka, Wax and Ping. Also in FNCS Trials he placed 5th and just 1 point away from 4th. Even though it's open lobbies, this is still impressive and a good placement nevertheless. Surprisingly, he's even more consistent in FNCS placements, his best being 2nd place, which is not the first time. He came 2nd twice, 3rd and a 6th, all in grands. Let's look at his match history and the result of him getting the 2nd place. We will also look at other big Fortnite console pros who may be competing for this underrated spot, but you have to keep watching to find this out. It was a duo FNCS at the time and he was playing with Chap, who's quite known but surprisingly only 15 years old. So this might be the youngest jury to place this high in FNCS Grand Finals. Chap himself has $200,000 in Fortnite earnings. They won 3 out of the 12 games they played and one of the wins was their last game. I believe they were only 2 eliminations away from winning FNCS, which is just insane. First place was Vico and Flixie with 2 wins out of the 12 they played, so 1 less win than Teeny's team, but nevertheless their match history was well played. Every game they got an elimination, averaging 5 throughout the tournament, and their worst placement was coming top 18. Third place was Swizzy and Vanyak, former FNCS winners. They got 646 points total and 0 wins after 12 games played. Now the difference from 3rd and 2nd is by a landslide. It's a 200 point lead, so realistically Teeny and Vico's team were battling it out. Then just 14 points behind 3rd place was Malibuka's team with 632 points, and he actually has one of the most highest Fortnite earnings, having 1 million earned. He played with Mustache and they won 2 out of the 12 games, but didn't manage to get enough kills or make endgames to get the extra points that they needed. This is the most recent FNCS Grands Teeny played in, but let's look at another. This tournament he played with Misha and they placed 3rd, winning $100,000, qualifying them to Copenhagen. But you will never guess how they done it. They dropped 9 different landing spot locations out of the 12 games that they played, and what their strategy was is camp somewhere and kill one person in the duo, making it a 1v2 and easy to win. They will land wherever there is enough loot to eliminate someone, so about 3 to 4 chests, then either crouch walk up on whoever they see, or just camp in a building they knew someone would walk into.
Oh, Misha Teeny classic. The Misha Teeny classic.
And then fire back-to-back shots.
If you guys haven't followed Comp Fortnite recently, this team here, Misha and Teeny, did this on an EU FNCS Grand Final. They dropped 9 different locations in 12 games and ended up coming top 3 by doing it. Just landing on random-ass houses with a couple chests, like just getting a couple guns and then just hiding on teams' rotates and shitting on them. It was more impressive because Teeny's on controller. And a top 3 EU FNCS on controller these days is very impressive. In its own right, let alone without a drop spot.
And it worked. They actually done this in a $4 million LAN event, and you can see for yourself how this turned out.
They have some sorts of feeling. See him hopping over the covers. They know they're around here somewhere. They probably already seen them drop just a little bit, but the bait has been taken! Down goes one of them. Misha and Teeny strike yet again. Now Pars is stuck by himself, and immediately you see him creating distance between him.
You also have to keep in mind he's doing this all on controller. Imagine you have the best teams down in the best possible drop spots, then you have Teeny's team landing in the middle of nowhere, and still managing to come out with 3rd place. They won 1 of the games out of the 12 that they played, and managed to get 449 points. First place was Swizzy and Patrick, getting 653 points and 2 wins. Second place was Chica and Trulex, having 506 points and 0 wins, so first and second place had a massive point gap and third was roughly 50 points away. but more actually went into getting this third place. It couldn't be easy enough just to land at 3 chests and get the win. What Teeny and Misha would do is study players who split off from their teammates. So this would be certain loot routes or certain paths they would take to mine our mats. Then they would wait until the perfect moment, sneak up on them and eliminate them. After that they would camp on a reboot or chase the duo down to get the 3 point. It's a dirty play, but when you're playing in such a high prize pool tournaments, it's smart not letting teams play the game out as a duo. And if they didn't have enough loot from camping on people's teammates and catching them off guard, they would prioritize combat caches. This would give you slurp juices and tons of overpowered loot to help you win the game. Now obviously they aren't just going to get these for free, they would have to fight for it. But luckily for them, they're very good fighters and can apply lots of pressure which won them the loot most of the times. Some people have called Teeny and Chap the EU version of Peterbot and Poyo just because of how consistent they are. We all know this season is trios for competitive, but if we look back a couple of months it was mainly duos. In the Performance Evolutions Cup Opens and in finals they placed first place, competing with many top tier pros. Then just a month after, Duo Cash Cup started to take place, and they placed first place in the Opens and in finals once again, winning 2,500 each. A week after this insane performance in Duo Cash Cups, in Opens they placed top 3 and in finals they placed first place once again, which definitely hasn't been talked about enough. Also during these games they were dropping high kills, so they weren't just getting low elo wins. In fact, one of the games they actually dropped 29 kills in a lobby full of pros. And they even made players with medallions drop it, so for a chance not to get eliminated. So that's another reason why they're similar to Peterbot and Poyo. A very well known and possibly the best console player is Miro. He has the most FNCS wins on console, which is 5, and is still placing highly till this day. But for a person to be underrated, I'd say they can't be very well known, so Miro is out of the question. Some other notable console pros are Moneymaker, Re, Okus, Day and Letchi. These are all very well known controller players once again, but I think one that doesn't get talked about enough is Day. He has 2 FNCS wins and $350,000 in Fortnite earnings. Day has 67,000 PR, placing him top 70 in this region NA Central, and this is all whilst on controller. Day's been around for a long time and is still putting up high placements till this day. His recent FNCS placements aren't necessarily high, but as you can see he's still regularly qualifying for grand finals, and for a console player to do this alone is extremely impressive. Now I may get some flame for this in the comments, but I would happily say Moneymaker is an overrated console pro, and his recent placements show for it. He has 53,000 PR and 30k in earnings, which is very impressive for console. I'll give him credit where it's due. But if we look at his recent placements in the recent FNCS trials, he only qualified for Division 3, which is the last and worst division of FNCS. His most recent placement is 6th place, but for a professional console player we should be expecting 1st place, especially in Division 3 lobbies. If we look at his other placements it seems to be averaging quite high. If he wants to be known as a pro console player, he needs to stop singing Popular on high ground and start focusing in game to get better placements. If I see him come 1st to 3rd place in placements coming up, then maybe I'll change my mind about Moneymaker. He also hasn't won any solo cash cups in a while. In Chapter 5 Season 1 Moneymaker's Prime, I would see him winning solo cash cups every week and dancing on high ground.
Let's go! Let's go!
Now we can't see him win one. Let's just hope this changes and for the best. Now Moneymaker is still very young, only being 15 years old, and to be considered a pro console player is impressive at this age, so he still has lots of years to come and throughout that time can practice. Someone else who is competing for Teeny's sport is Cade, who's also just 16 years old with 60k in earnings and plays on Europe servers. He has 86,000 PR despite playing on console. His best placement is 12th in grand finals playing with Diox and earning $10,000 during this. It's crazy how young players are competing at such a high level whilst playing on controller. Cade recently qualified for Division 1 as expected and placed top 15 in the Session 2. He has very good placements and he qualified grands a couple of times, and I definitely think he'll make grands this FNCS as well. Cade has killed many of your favourite pros, but overall Teeny is the better and most underrated player. Teeny has more earnings, PR and better grand placements than Cade. Now I've talked about a few other pro console players that could take the sport, but Teeny takes the 1st place for the most underrated controller player in Fortnite. Hope you did enjoy. If you think you know any other good controller players that are up for debate, leave them in the comments and I'll see you in the next video guys. Peace.